Bitcoin and crypto price analysis suggesting major moves inbound. I do not care if they happen in this month of July or if they start to really happen in August into September. All things are showing that you need to be stacked and ready because we are about to see a monstrous pump in the crypto market. Every single one of you, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell, because we're going to be diving right in. We got some incredible signals today. I want to see a bunch of GMs in the chat right now. I want to see everybody getting active, showing that you are paying attention because we've got to be locked in right now. The biggest moves of this cycle are yet to come. And I think altcoins and the alt season, everybody has been waiting on, is right now setting up for major moves to the upside. Let's get into it. Let's go. This is the moment we have been waiting on. We're sitting here where price feels like it's doing nothing, but I guarantee you there's so much going on in the background. Just because you see a NASCAR pull into a pit stop, it does not mean the race is over. In fact, what you're actually seeing is a change of tires. You're seeing fuel getting put into the vehicle so it can go further, so it can go faster. And that's exactly what we're seeing in the crypto ecosystem right now. And this is exactly what we're looking for. These moves, exactly what we're seeing here, from the swing from $74,000 down to $48,000, and then a monstrous pump from 48 all the way up to over $100,000. Another crash, the market's dead, down to 74,000, and then this move right here where this is consolidating into not only a bullish pattern with this descending broadening wedge. We've already broken out of this pattern. Is the next move up here to $140,000? We have some key signals breaking down why this may be in store sooner than you can expect. One thing persists. All of these are chopping out people buying hope, selling fear, buying hope, selling fear. But what do you see in this? The persistent case here is that Bitcoin higher is the narrative. So let's make sure we are stacked in. When we're looking at the markets, we're still sitting still above that 3.3 trillion mark. In fact, earlier this morning, we were up at $3.4 trillion. And yet people are wondering why nothing is happening. Well, let's go ahead and dive into some of these things. We've talked about this. One thing persists, Bitcoin higher, but then we also see things like this. This actually is overwhelmingly bullish to me. What is this? Right here, U.S. to punish El Salvador for adopting Bitcoin. What the heck is going on? How can this be? Well, this is very much tied into, in my opinion, the central banks, the IMF, International Monetary Fund, and the bill that El Salvador did, or the agreement they signed with the IMF, although they are very persistent in stacking into a Bitcoin strategy. And this is why I said this will all be pushed by the IMF. And it's not the International Monetary Fund. This is the International Monopoly Fund. Vote against central bank control, and you do that in one way, and that is through buying Bitcoin. So let's make sure that we can be on the right side of this, because these types of things signal just how much of a threat to one of the most destructive things we've ever seen on this planet, and that is central banking. Think about the world wars. Think about the largest wars we've seen in history throughout the the whole 20th century, all the 1900s with World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, the Cold War. All of these started after we had central banks. And yet now we're in a time where we have an opportunity to opt out of this broken system, and all we need to do is buy Bitcoin. So shout out to that. Shout out to each and every one of you that is persisting into this new world. Now, what do we got? We have some major things that are signaling this move right here, the breakout higher that so many people are waiting on, they're stacking into. We're all becoming a little bit impatient, but we're coming down to that deadline. Today is July 9th. I'm not sure when you're watching this if you're not here live, but today is July 9th, that deadline for the trade deal. So when we come in here and we realize that this is starting to take place, we already see US, we already see China, we already see Vietnam. And there's also, as indicated yesterday, actually this morning, that there are a minimum of seven countries having to do with trade. Tomorrow morning, information on trade deals coming to fruition, with an additional number of countries being released in the afternoon. So this is happening. Is it a little bit delayed into August 1st? Sure, but there's an enormous number of countries that this is impacting, which dominantly runs what's happening in the global trade, what's dominantly influences what's happening in the global financial and global economies. So we need to pay attention to this. This may be also one of the reasons why we've seen the price action push up into this zone and consolidate here, still sitting on the upper bound of this whole giant range from $74,000 to $109,000. And yet price, oh my God, it crashed. But look at the crash. It came down, not only set a higher low from here, this set a higher low from all of these lows back here. In fact, it did this within forming a bullish pattern, suggesting a breakout up from here. And it's not just the numbers, it's not just the data. I'm going to show you exactly why there's other indications that are signaling higher beyond what we're seeing just in the trade deals. There are a confounding number of agreeable data points that are suggesting price higher. And it's not just for Bitcoin, it's for Ethereum, it's for BitTensor Tau, it's for Avalanche, it's for TON, the TON Foundation, it's for Solana, it's for the market as a whole, especially following many of the new regulatory decisions that have been made, supporting and encouraging the development and the empowerment of the digital asset ecosystem. In fact, as I speak, there's a Senate Banking Committee going on right now, specifically discussing the digital asset market structure and some of the things that are going to really substantiate the willingness of some of the biggest players in the world to get involved. But don't forget, we've already got the biggest player in the world involved, and that's BlackRock. We also have Fidelity. We also have basically all the major banks now starting to offer Bitcoin and crypto services and trading, and the integrations that are coming from stable coins that is going to change the entire universe of the crypto ecosystem. So let's make sure we are not getting trapped in this hope, in this fear, in this hope, in this fear. No, because one thing that persists is Bitcoin higher, and thus also the crypto and digital asset ecosystem also is going to be pushing higher and higher, especially considering the entire world is integrating on chain. So let's make sure we're paying attention to this, because we have to wonder, is Bitcoin a trap? Well, maybe it is. Maybe Bitcoin is a trap. It tricks you into saving. I know since I've gotten involved with Bitcoin and crypto, I think a lot more considerately about how I'm spending my money. Do I need to go on this third trip or fourth or fifth trip of the year? Do I need to go out and spend another $300, $500, $800 going out? Do I need to buy, meals out and fast food throughout the week? Now that I'm hooked into this ecosystem and looking at the future and where it's going, I am trapped by Bitcoin. I am trapped by crypto, realizing that every dollar I spend now that's not an investment in the future is stealing $10,000 or more on an exponential basis from myself. It also forces you to learn. It makes you question everything, and then it sets you free. Bitcoin is a trap. And I'm here to be trapped, so my future is what's in focus. So I'm not trapped in a legacy system and trapped in a basically degrading, devaluing world, which is what you are if you're just trapped in the US dollar. This is the type of trap I want to be in. To save, to learn, to question things, to make my own decisions, to vote against central banking. This is what I'm all about, and I hope all of you understand that. And if you're on the cusp, dive in a little bit deeper, learn a bit more, and you will be trapped by this insane opportunity, much like I am. And then we got this, the money supply growth. If big government and inefficiencies were just a Democratic or Republican issue, why do all countries in the world face the same problem? And that is the infinite problem of money printing into infinity. This is the imperative of central banks. This is the imperative of how every fiat system works, which means every hour you worked over time means you're getting paid less for that hour you worked in the past. Why is this? Because if the dollar that you saved from working last week or last year or 10 years ago persistently becomes less valuable, then that also means that the hours you worked are becoming worth less and less and less. Well, look at this. This is fiat currencies. This isn't just the US dollar. This is the Japanese yen, the Chinese yuan, the Great British pound, the euro, all of which are just, look at this, exponential growth. This is not the type of growth you want to see. This is the amount of available supply. This is terrible for everything that every human is about in terms of working, saving, trying to have a future. This limits that on an exponential basis. But what do you see that is the inverse of this? And that is Bitcoin with, yes, a lot of inflation. Yes, there is inflation in Bitcoin. It started with 0 Bitcoin back in 2009. And now we're over 19 million. It's going to be another 100-ish years before we get that last million Bitcoin. Well, how can that be? Well, because we had huge amounts of inflation. This is of mining rewards, 50 Bitcoin per block. And then we had a halving, and then it was, 25 Bitcoin per block. And now it's only 12. Then it was 12 Bitcoin per block. Then it was 6.125 Bitcoin per block. Now it's 3.125 Bitcoin per block. And it's going to get the inflation getting cut in half. The opposite, literal opposite of every fiat system out there. So by nature of this being, I don't want to call it an inverse correlation, but a contrary correlation to every fiat system or any asset that we've ever seen in history, this means, especially as adoption comes in, especially as the world wakes up to this, that Bitcoin is going to have an overwhelming pressure of price action move to the upside for 2 reasons. One, the dollar is becoming less valuable. Therefore, if Bitcoin even just stays exactly where it's at, is going to cost more dollars to get it. And then you add on that the exponential basis of adoption going in orders of magnitude, just like we saw with the adoption rate of the internet. Now we have less valuable dollars and we have more people coming in and we have a fixed supply. Bitcoin only persists higher. Understand this chart and it will change how you spend every dollar everywhere, anywhere, all the time, because this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. And I'm here with all of you. I'm not selling you Bitcoin. If you get in Bitcoin or not does not affect me. I am trying to share what I have learned. And hopefully you all understand this so that you do not miss what is literally a once in a humanity event. This is a once in a humanity event when you see every different money system in every government being printed to infinity, whereas Bitcoin, this arc here, becomes less and less and less, divided by half every 4 years. The inflation divided by half every 4 years, and an exponential adoption coming in as we're seeing right now with just, guys, stack, stack, stack. What else we got? Because we got some magic today. And then you look at look at this rates and buying a home. Buying a home in 1985 versus 2022. Wow. I mean, look at this. This is the income. This is the cost of a house. Okay. This is the income. This is the cost of the house. What does this chart mean? Look at the difference there in the ratio of the earned versus cost of house versus earned versus cost of house. This is why it's so important to participate in any way possible. You don't need to go 100% in Bitcoin. In fact, I don't even recommend that for most people. But if you're not dipping your toes in some way after seeing a chart like this, after seeing what's going on here, and understanding that everything becomes more difficult the longer you stay in the dollar as your primary source of storing your value. By getting an allocation in Bitcoin, you essentially destroy this paradigm which enslaves you. This current paradigm with fiat enslaves you to a destructive future versus investing in Bitcoin, even if it's a 1%, 2%, 3%, whatever's right for you to start, whatever is right for you for where you're at right now in your life. You start to destroy this model and make this ratio shrink exponentially. So how much you're worth, how much you're making becomes much more in line with how much a house costs or how much food costs or how much a car costs. This is overwhelmingly important to understand. Now, what else we got? So I have $140,000 Bitcoin projection in the very near future. In fact, I think it'll probably be before the end of this summer. Why is this? Well, let's listen to a banking industry analyst, somebody in the banking world, the ecosystem that completely was against the crypto ecosystem for its entire life until the last about 18 months. Now the world's woken up. What is the banking industry saying about Bitcoin? Hold on one second. There we go.
Did you say 150 like here, and that's Bitcoin?
Why is this so quiet?
Properly, did you say 140,000 for Bitcoin? It's possible from here?
It's very possible.
Really?
It's too quiet. The banking industry analyst here says $140,000 because there's such a tight coiled pressure in this with the lack of volatility, with the consolidation, with the accumulation at current levels, with every single news narrative that's come out, with every new capital access point, with every new positive regulation is only supporting higher prices. So any dip that we see here is literally a godsend. In fact, if I go out of this, we can actually see something else that I don't think I shared it on here. Let me just share this for you real quick. This is from Matthew Highland. He shared this yesterday, and that's this right here. Bitcoin's biggest move is yet to come this year, even at $109,000. The biggest move, the parabolic move that we've all been waiting on, not only in Bitcoin, but in altcoins, is now setting up. And why is that? Because the Bollinger Bands, which basically give you a data aggregate metric of when prices get very volatile and expanding the volatility, which is this metric here going up, or when price has been consolidating over a period of time and you get lack of volatility, which is this metric moving down. This metric moving down also is the same thing as when these Bollinger Bands get constricted. So you're seeing the same metric displayed in two different ways. And what is this showing? We're the most constricted we've been this cycle so far. What happens when we get these constrictions? Oh, move up. It doesn't always mean move up or move down. It's direction agnostic. But the pressures right now are to the upside. What happened when this came all the way back down? Oh my God, move up. What happened when this constricted again across for some time? Boom, massive move to the upside. So we've seen this time and time again, especially while we're in a bull trend, especially when every data point out there is only suggesting more adoption, more buying pressure, more demand for the market when we're getting a reduction in available supply in a major way. This is suggesting a major move is coming up. So not only is a banking cartel analyst saying higher, we're also seeing every data point that we aggregate suggesting that the buying pressure and the lack of available supply is suggesting major moves are about to be inbound. And then we see things like this. Airline giant Emirates announces they will be accepting Bitcoin and crypto as payment for flights. Now, this may not seem like a major story, but what is really prescient here is this. Bitcoin's rise feels slow, but when you zoom out, count headlines and integrations, the Bitcoin treasuries, which are going exponential, payments and integrations, which, I mean, from the Stablecoin Act to the integrations with Shopify, integrations with PayPal, integrations with Cash App, everything we're seeing, these access points and payment integrations are exponential. And then, of course, the government empowerment and acceptance of Bitcoin and digital assets. We know nothing stops this train, as Lynn Alden says, and that is the money printing, as we highlighted earlier. The infinite money supply. There's no lack of cap. There's an overwhelming supply, which makes everything become less valuable. At the same time, Bitcoin's rise is just getting started. So while this may not feel like a major story, it just compounds what we've been seeing, we've been inundated with over the last 18 months. And it feels like price isn't moving. No, it is moving incredibly. Not so long ago, January 2023, we saw Bitcoin's price sitting at about $16,000. Let's go out to the 3-day chart and look at this. January 2023, look at this, $16,770. This is not that long of a time, and this has just been stair-stepping up. And as I pointed out, People bought hype, people sold fear. People bought hype, people sold fear. But every one of you that's tuned in here on BitLab Academy, watching Discover Crypto, watching Blockchain Basement, we all have been looking at this, the ETF being approved. This was a buy opportunity. Oh my God, this is scary. This was a buy opportunity. Oh my God, this was a buy opportunity. We've been stacking or just sitting on our hands because we know the persistent trend here is up and it's about to go exponential. We have not had any sort of parabolic move in this trend beyond the scope of the angle of attack that we've seen so far. And this has been absolutely beautiful chart structure so far. So let's lock in, everybody. What we got? Objectively, nice to see you. Objectively, Granny's Garden, good to see you. Alexander G, Pre-Rich, Crypto Fascist Colonizer, DOD, H Barbarian Bean, how you doing? We got Dingo Booty, Ad Mirror, how's everybody doing? I want to see some good mornings in the chat. Looking real good. Kelly, Slim Kelly, have I been losing weight? Maybe it's walking the dog. GM from Atlanta. I want every one of you to drop a GM and from whatever city you're tuned in from right now. Whether you're on Rumble, whether you're on X, whether you're on YouTube, get active in the live chat. I see it all right here now. It's directly next to my screen because I adjusted my screen outline so it takes up more real estate as you see on the screen. And it also allowed me to put the live chat right here. So I could see you. If you live chat on X, I can see it. If you live chat on Rumble, I can see it. So get active. Dave Middleton, how you doing? Ugin Sky. We got Stevie Crypto 6. The fam is here, everybody. But let's go because we got a couple more things that we really want to cover here. Okay, Emirates. Are we about to get a major boom in price? There's no quantitative easing, right? Still tight, constrictive monetary policies. They're doing different financial, stealthy, little, just dirty things behind the scenes to say they're not quantitative easing. The Fed just dropped $11 billion into the overnight repo market quietly on a weekend when they think nobody's paying attention. But you're here with me on BitLab Academy. You're here in the Discord, the Discover Investments group. That link is pinned in the top of the live chat there. Get in there. We've been having live trading, morning sessions, charts, discussion. Get involved there because we're keeping you guys in the know. Because the last time, if $2.5 billion sparked a massive Bitcoin breakout in 2024, this was that little sneaky little stimulus that we saw. What do you think $11 billion is going to do in 2025? Especially considering we just had that big bill that just passed, and there's been indication that there's 3 more bills coming, all of which are going to require more money spending. Rate cuts plus liquidity equals rocket fuel. This is suggesting the NASCAR, aka Bitcoin and crypto market, is pulled into the pit stop right now. They just fueled up. So what are you going to do about it? I know you're going to hit that like button. I know you're going to subscribe. I know you're going to get active because we're keeping you on the right side of the trend, baby. Shout out to California. Shout out to Houston. Shout out to another California. Shout out to UK. Food is life. How you doing? Bay Area. Dubuque. What's up? Arizona. What else we got? West Coast. We got people all over the planet. I love it. I love it. I love to see it. So we got this right here. Stablecoins used for $800 billion in transaction volume a month. Bitcoin, crypto, stablecoins, they have no value. Okay, just stablecoins alone utilized for almost $1 trillion in transaction volume per month. Just stablecoins. When you look at Bitcoin, Bitcoin has more volume. Bitcoin has more volume than two of the largest credit card providers. The value is there. If you don't see it, you are blinded by cognitive dissonance and you deserve to have your head stuck in the ground or, ask somebody to pull your head out of your ass because all the data is here. The integrations have happened and we're only at about 3 to 5% of adoption rate globally. And yet stablecoins and digital assets are already eclipsing the biggest payment providers on the planet. The time is now. You think prices have moved? I don't know what you're looking at because if we're only at 3 to 5% global adoption and we're already displacing, stepping on, disrupting the largest payment providers in the world, and we have 95% or more to go in adoption, I mean, if you guys aren't psyched for what's coming, I mean, do not get fudded out by boredom. Do not get fudded out by boredom because it's about to get special. Now, let's talk about Ethereum because Ethereum is going to be a great signal for what we're about to see coming into the altcoin market. Ethereum is set for the biggest rally that we've seen this cycle. In fact, it feels like it's never going to happen for ETH. It's just a stable coin. Well, here's the deal. Everybody was staring at all the other shiny objects while Ethereum has, been entrenched as the largest ecosystem of crypto in the digital asset sector. In fact, it supports some of the largest amount of stable coins as well. And when you look at this cycle, look at these two things, how they've played out. Look at what happened here before, right on the break of this support and then a massive explosion to the upside. This is Bitcoin as an analog for looking at Ethereum. We've done the exact same formation here, and this is looking like it's ready to go absolutely ballistic to the upside. But can you compare this to Bitcoin? I don't know if that'll work. Well, great. Let's look at it compared to Ethereum itself. This ETH chart screams one thing: buy the dip or watch the breakout from the sidelines. We saw the move up. Oh, the sell off. It's never doing it. Ballistic. Okay, look at this. Move up. Oh, it's boring. It's boring. I don't have patience. I don't have patience means I don't deserve to make money. You've got to be patient in these markets because when they rip, they leave everybody behind. And if you're buying after it's ripping, then more likely than not, one, you have bad strategy. And secondarily, if you're buying as the rip is happening, when you get these small corrections along the way, most of the people that buy into a rip also sell on a dip. So you end up getting out of the market, having bought high and you sold low. So you lost money only to see the price rip again. And then you buy higher again, it dips again, you sell, you lose money. Don't do that. That is how most people lose money in this market. But this is looking like it's set up for major moves. But then we also got Link. And this is important. This is very important because this is Jeff Bezos talking about Amazon. And yes, we're going to be talking about Chainlink here in a moment. So I just want you to hear what he has to say. Hopefully this is louder. I don't know why it was so quiet before. Let's see if it's loud enough.
The stock is not the company, and the company is not the stock. And so as I watched the stock fall from 113 to 6, I was also watching all of our internal business metrics, number of customers, profit per unit, everything you can imagine, defects, etc. Every single thing about the business was getting better and fast. And so as the stock price was going the wrong way, everything inside the company was going the right way. And we didn't need to go back to the capital markets. We didn't need more money. The only reason, a financial bust like the internet bubble bursting makes it really hard to raise money. But, we already had the money we needed. So we just needed to continue to progress.
Chainlink is the best situated digital asset in the entire crypto ecosystem and in the global financial ecosystem as a whole, TradFi and crypto. Chainlink bridges the Web 2, the TradFi, the old world legacy systems, and also connects them to the Web 3 blockchain, the new age that everything's stepping into, this fourth turning. Beyond that, Chainlink also integrates across basically the majority of the crypto ecosystem, all the major projects that matter. In addition to that, it's getting, interwoven into SWIFT, the largest global payments network. It's also getting integrated into DTCC. So as you just saw with Jeff Bezos, when Amazon crashed from 113 to 6, the company was actually doing better in that time as the stock was crashing. Well, how can that be? Because when you're coming over here, let's go ahead and pull up Link. When you're looking at Link and you go, why isn't Link moving? There's two different things that happen here. You have the speculative market, which is this chart, the price of the share or the price of the asset that you're trading. It goes up, I make money. It goes down, I lose money, unless you're shorting, right? But this is a speculative market. This in some ways is reflected by what's going on internally in the company. When you get good news or you get bad news, you get big advancements or you have big failures. This could also drive this speculative market. But what we've seen since Chainlink's inception, since its ICO, since over the last five years, where they've been building incredibly in the crypto ecosystem, integrating things like CCIP, integrating and providing utility like ACE, automatic compliance, right? Especially as we're seeing all these RWA narratives. Well, there's a lot of different compliance regulations in different geolocales. Chainlink is addressing so many major concerns from the legacy financial system, as well as what it means to step into the new age, the blockchain age. Chainlink is the most undervalued asset, I think, in the digital ecosystem outside of Bitcoin, because remember, Bitcoin has no top, right? So what we're looking at when we're looking at Chainlink is, let's get out of why isn't it moving? Because it's so integrated. Let's say, thank God it hasn't left us yet, because when it does, let's zoom out on this. I just want you to notice something. When you zoom out on Link, you realize it's been since 2020, 5 years, this has been consolidating into an ultimate, ballistic launch pad to melt the faces of everybody that's not paying attention. But you're paying attention. Hit that like button, subscribe, because when we're seeing this, yes, we got a deviation above, came right back into the zone. And yes, we know it's in this zone still, because this is respecting these lower bound support. And now look at this falling trend, falling broadening wedge, right? And when we see this, this is also, if you drag this out a bit further, this is broken out of the zone. It doesn't mean it's going ballistic this moment, but this does suggest, even with another retest down, I think Chainlink is going to absolutely overwhelmingly be one of the most integrated crypto that's out there. So shout out, drop link in chat if you are a link holder. And then we got some other things. Ondo has been making some major strides with their integrations with RWA, with stock markets, with BlackRock, with Wellington, with MasterCard. The number of partnerships Ondo has, especially considering, remember this, especially considering the Genius Act about stablecoins, that puts Ondo in an overwhelmingly bullish position. Because currently, and it's not going to be limited to US Treasuries, but Ondo has tokenized US Treasuries already. Now, stablecoins, as they start getting deployed, new stablecoins, which is going to happen at every bank. It's going to happen across so many different corporate and institutional players launching stablecoins, and different types of stablecoins that are getting launched. The new Genius Act requirement will require them to have backing of US Treasuries. So Ondo is positioned in a way that is very tied to what's happening with stablecoins, but also outside of that, they've already got billions in stablecoins being tokenized and being purchased and traded through Ondo. And they're not just doing stablecoins, they're also want to tokenize, I believe, the top 1,000 stocks to be traded on blockchain. This is overwhelmingly positioned for success. But then we got to look at Crow, because look at this major, monstrous move Crow made yesterday. Now, why is this? I didn't cover this yesterday, but Crow just got included in True Social's ETF that includes Bitcoin, Crow, XRP, and ETH, I believe. There might be one other. But this is beautiful. We're not only getting a stamp of approval for Crow, and Crow is the exchange token for crypto.com. It is also giving more of a broad approval. And hey, smart money players, Bitcoin is the apex asset, but altcoins serve a major purpose, especially getting the stamp of approval from the president's company itself. Now, obviously, this doesn't give the stamp of approval to every altcoin out there, but it starts making you look, okay, which coins are going to really take off here? Chainlink's in that mix. Crypto.com's in that mix. XRP's in that mix. Brad Garlinghouse was just speaking at the Senate Banking Committee digital asset market structure hearing that was going on right now. But then you also see on Crow, not only a massive move to the upside, but currently starting to form a bit of a bull flag. This would be monstrous. Now, is this going to play out like a bull flag? We're going to have to see. But if this were a bit of a bull flag here, or a bull pennant, then currently, if this plays out, the target on Crow, we can measure it a little bit conservatively. It would be up here at about just under, look at this, 11, 8 to 12 cents. Now, that's from the lower side of this bound. If you measure this from the breakout, I did not set this up. I'm doing this live with you guys. Look at the target here. This goes right to this line. I don't even know what this line is. Let's look. That's why I keep my charts, updated, and I peek into them from time to time. Look, this low, this rejection. This line was already here. This bull flag next move target is up here at the line we already had on the chart. So will that play out? Well, let's see. I do know it's very bullish for Crow. Then we got Aerodrome, which is still giving a bit of a great opportunity that's starting to break out. Aerodrome, we got this move right here, smaller term time frame here. This goes back to about a week and a half, a little over a week. This is starting to break out. I'm not calling this a super bull reversal yet, but if we zoom out on this, look, negative money flow, RSI is still below. This is on the 8-hour, but the RSI is still below the 50 line, but we also have a downtrend on the RSI right here. You see this? Look at this. Look where RSI came into and starting to roll over. If this is able to break out and come up above the 50 line, then we'll start to look for higher moves here. But as it stands, until we get that, I'd be a little cautious here on a near-term trade. Not on allocating, taking a small position or whatever position that you want to for your portfolio that you're going to hold into, the months ahead. Great. This is a great opportunity zone. If you're trading between now and tomorrow, then there's no clear signal here on the 4-hour, still negative money flow. If we come down, let's go to the 1-hour. Yeah, so money flow came back down. I'd be looking for Aerodrome to have a little bit of a reversal, come test back into this zone and then come up. If it doesn't do that, maybe another smaller move within here, which would be an inverted head and shoulder. And if that's the case, what do? Measure from the bottom part of the head to the neckline, which means where all these things are butting up against. Measure that out. That target would be up here into the 75, 76 cents range. Just for this move. And then likely a little bit of correction along the way. Solana attacking the line. Okay, what is the line? Let's go out to the 3-day and double click here and let's look at this really quick. So it's okay, right on the cusp. Also, like we saw in Bitcoin, it's fighting to have the confidence to move. Well, some things are at play here. With the tariffs, the trade deals, how these things roll out, what's going on, all these things geopolitically that are causing certainty and uncertainty just to be ping-ponged back and forth. If this is able to break out of here, I'm looking for a target up here about 165. Now, I think there will be a little bit of a struggle bus there unless we get, 22 trade deals in a row, then this will push up and slice right through and come right up into the 175 range, which is a look at this. This goes back to 2021. That deal, this trend line right here. So we're watching this very carefully. But what's most likely to happen, come down to the 4-hour, is if this does break out, because this is looking good, if this does break out, I'd be expecting some trouble here, a little bit of consolidation, and then a move and some consolidation. But things are feeling good, guys. BitTensor Tau. Also, look at this. It's on the lower bound here, which means still good opportunity zone. If we go to the 8-hour, let's look. So negative money flow on the 8-hour. RSI cannot get above the 50 yet. We're on the lower bound of this price range, BitTensor Tau. But this is, look, it's coiling. Big move down, back up. Smaller 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 move down. W formation. If this is able to break out, I'd be watching what happens at 344, 345. Why? Because we have this rejection, this kind of bounce, this bounce, this bounce, this bounce, this bounce. So if we do get a small term breakout, right here, I'll be watching what happens in this zone. If this breaks out, then I'm looking to come up into this zone next for BitTensor. But remember, BitTensor has all the right people behind it. Let's go ahead and look at some of the other things I know you guys have. XRP, nice move here out of the zone, broke out of this downtrend that then retested back down. But look where it retested. Retested right back down to the trend line that it broke out of. So although it feels like it fell further, which it did, it still respected the trend line, this downtrend, rejection, support. You see that? Now this looks small, big, it's kind of small here. And this is broken out of this trend line there. So let's measure this from the base of the head, the deepest point to that neckline, measure this out. This is suggesting a target up here in the, I mean, I think we're going to have some trouble at 260, but it's targeting up here in the 280s. Money flow positive, solid. XLM probably looks very similar. XLM, look at that. XLM getting sort of falling trend here. These falling trends, although they suck, it's like so frustrating. These tend to break bullish. What we do? Money flow flip positive right here. Look, option V. That's where the money flow flip positive. Boom. Let's go to the 4 hour. Yeah, money flow flip positive right here. And now what do we see? We see the price action on XLM. Also, look, little reset, but the money flow is positive. I would have bought that dip because look where it retested right here. Option J. Look, retested right, previous range high, money flow is positive. Boom, we got a mega launch. And now check this out. This broke past this level right here. So there is some strength coming into XLM right now. Let's go ahead and delete some of these lines. And we talked about this the other day, this roundingness that was starting to take place here. And what happened? Money flow flipped positive. Price action broke out of it's a fairly major trend on this 4 hour chart. But it's not there yet where it's like full bull, full reversal. Because all we have currently is a little bit of a move up. Okay? Just a little bit of a move up. I'll be watching to see what happens here, whether it's a bull flag that holds above this level, a bit of a retrace down, maybe to this level here, which let's see, option F, measurement to top. And look at that. Measurement from this break, from this dip, boom, to there. That previous range high right here is exactly right about where we're looking at the golden pocket on that move. So this would be a beautiful spot for it to retest before making a move higher. If it retests. If this is able to move up a bit higher, I'd be watching the 32 cents zone right here. And then I think we'd have a little bit more consolidation, but things are feeling good, guys. Avalanche. I mean, it wants to make the move higher, but look, negative money flow. Let's go to the 4 hour. Yeah. I mean, it's just like, it's holding there. I think as soon as, RSI is starting to give signal and it's holding above the 50. But if this money flow really starts to come in, then we get the move. But look at this. Look at exactly where this is. Previous range low, previous range low, previous chop, rejection, chop. And this is exactly where we're at. There's some barriers here with price memory in this zone. If this is able to push up, first stop I'll be watching is right here, previous range. And then the next zone I'll be watching right here. Why? Because we see a bounce and a rejection and a rejection and yeah. So these are the levels I'd be stair stepping to the upside, expecting some small turn, either consolidation or a little bit of a dip before the step to the next one up. Reading y'all's comments. Reading the comments. Shout out to everybody here. Yeah, we got to Avalanche. Yeah, for sure. We just did that. Near looks exactly like Avalanche. Exactly. Except this one is already kind of getting the move outside the range and we have positive money flow. So Near looks a little bit more bullish. It's starting to try and make the move. You see Avalanche, see the money flow. It's not there yet. RSI is okay, but look at Near. RSI is better and the money flow is positive. So this is already starting to make that move. If the W formation as well right here, if this is able to clear this zone, I think then we start getting some pretty big moves to the upside. This zone next, and then this zone here. Now, again, that doesn't mean price action just goes like this. Boop. Oops. This does not mean price. I'm expecting this to go like this and then boom, and then boom. We're going to get some moves, some rejections. Oh, I'm so sad. And then it pushes up, has some move, and then probably a deviation. And then we get some, oh, it's scary. And then it comes back and this is normal price action. Be prepared for this. But we're feeling good. We're looking good. The markets are just absolutely opening up the bullish hopium, which means there might be some opportunities for some bearish fear porn out there. If we get dips here, I can't advise you to do anything, but I know what I'm doing. I'm so midterm to macro bullish. I am aggressive on any dip opportunities or assets I don't feel like I've stacked enough of right now on the narratives that I'm looking at. But get into that Discord. It's pinned in the top of the live chat there on YouTube. It's pinned in the top of the live chat on Rumble. Shout out to each and every one of you. Shout out to everybody that's endured the frustration of these long consolidation moments. You all are going to be the ones that are just going to be jumping from the rooftops with joy when the markets start to rip again. Because remember, We've been building the largest base in history with the support of the most powerful government in history now, whereas everything up into the point of January 20th of this year was restrictive, and now it's all systems go. So before we just say, hey, everybody move into this mansion, it's like, okay, we got clearance, cool. Now we're building a massive, massive platform so the next moves can happen. So let's endure this patience because there is greatness to come. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. I'm going to shoot you over to the blockchain basement now. And I got to run home, save my doggy, and then hop on some more content this afternoon. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Big gratitude to each and every one of you. Adios, muchachos. Adios, muchachos. Let me know on Plume, bro. God, you got to super chat me as I'm leaving. Okay. You super chatted, though. I want to make sure. I want to drive more super chat engagement, so I will absolutely hit your Plume. Where's Plume USD? Boom. Okay, let's look at this. 3-day. Down and to the right. But this has a lot of the right players involved, a lot of really great. Okay, this actually, looking at it this way, this doesn't look too bad. So what we're looking at here, option J, we got a bit of a neckline here. We can do a double line here because we have this shelf and then these rejections. So the price action, W formation, broke out, came back down into the zone. I wouldn't be surprised if Plume came down a little bit more down here into sub 10 cents. Right in here, but anywhere in this zone, I think is a good opportunity. Let's measure this from the bottom, option F, to the top. Okay, what do we got? Okay, yeah, the golden pockets were just a little bit lower as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if this came down a little bit more, like a Elliott wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into this wave, meaning like this. There's a 1 move, there's a 2 move, there's a 3 move, there's a 4 move, there's a 5 move somewhere in this range. On an Elliott wave basis. But anywhere in this range, I think is good. Money flow is still negative. That's the 8-hour, 4-hour money flow negative. I would kind of wait until either this holds and the money flow flips, or just set your orders down in the zone, just sub 10 right here. Cause that would be a beautiful retest. And then you could talk about moving higher, but I love you guys. I appreciate you. Adios. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for coming. Thank you for always tuning in. Shout out to our channel partners, BitcoinIRA.com. Crypto IRA, trade your altcoins, trade them into Bitcoin, do it on a tax-deferred basis while you're also setting up your future. It could be multi-million-dollar difference just by addressing how you're doing these things on a, with your IRAs now. So get into it. Also, best crypto cold storage solution there is. GetArculus.com. Use code BitLab20, BITLAB20, BitLab20 for 20% off over at GetArculus.com for the best crypto cold storage solution there is. That's all I got. Adios, everybody.